we're going to talk about mental techniques for freediving. So once we've got our head around the visualization technique, I want to shift our attention to something else that we can use while we're actually out there on the buoy, while we're actually getting ready for our dives themselves. And that is very simply staying present. One of the most common questions that I get asked is, what do you think about on your dives? And the answer is, I think about the exact task that I'm performing in that very moment. Either I'm finning, or I'm free falling, or I'm equalizing, or I'm relaxing. I focus entirely on exactly what's going on in the present moment. The second we start to think about what's going to happen when I'm down here, or what's going to happen when I get back up there, or we start thinking about our past dives, like, oh, that last dive wasn't very good, that one before was good, am I going to do this one? We start to get muddled up in our head, and it's not a very good way to be diving. It's not, we lose our focus. So while visualization is a really fantastic technique to be doing before our dives, in the days leading up to our dives, in the weeks and the months while we're at home before we go away for our training period, we're not going to be out there on the buoy visualizing our dive while we're breathing up for our dive. Okay? There's only so much thinking about your diving you can really do before it becomes counterproductive. So what we want to be doing instead is keeping our mind completely present. So when you are on the surface of the water, what are we thinking about? When we're breathing up to go down, what are we thinking about? We're thinking about our breathing. We're thinking about how nice it feels to have the water lapping on our face or moving around on our hands. We're feeling the water and thinking about how nice all the sensations that we're feeling are. And then we duck dive, and as we duck dive, we are focused on the duck dive. I am doing a duck dive well now. I am executing a fantastic duck dive. And then we're focused on our finning. You see how this thing goes? We're focused on our finning. We're focused on the intensity and the power of our finning and how we ease it off as we slowly go deeper and deeper and deeper. When we start our free fall, we focus on completely relaxing and disengaging the body, and we basically become a sinking head. We focus entirely on our equalization. We focus entirely on just keeping all of our air spaces equalized. And then we reach the bottom and we turn around and we're focused on our finning. Now, one of the things that I personally like to do is I like to count my fin strokes that I do. Now, I don't count them from 0 to however many it takes me to get to the surface, because that would scare the hell out of me. What I do instead is I count them in cycles of 4. So I'm usually wearing a monofin, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. With bifins, 1, 2, 3, 4. With no fins, 1, kick, 2, kick, 3, kick, 4, kick, 1, kick, right? That's what we're doing, because if you really start to count, if I start counting, I'm like, oh god, it takes me like, what, 80, 90, 100 kicks to get off the bottom, I might be terrified. So that's what we're focusing on. We break it down into something manageable. And then you get back closer to the surface and you're thinking about, okay, now I'm going to start slowing down because I'm getting more positively buoyant. And when you're on the surface, you're thinking about recovery breathing. You're keeping your mind present in that specific moment, in that specific action that you're doing. You're keeping your mind present at all times. This technique will start to take anxiety away from your dives. And one of the better things that we can do with this technique is change a little bit of our goal orientation. So I know that often our goal is, I'm going to reach the end of the line, or I'm going to do a PB, right? But we are often more successful when our goal is something to do with our technique. So when our goal is not outcome based, we're more focused on, for example, on this dive, I'm going to make sure that my finning tapers off really, really well. So I'm strong at the surface and then softer and softer the deeper I go. Or on this dive, I'm going to make sure I really relax my chest for my free fall so I don't lose my mouth fill. Or anything along those lines. You choose a focus for your dive and you make that the outcome as opposed to reaching the bottom. Reaching the bottom is just a bonus that happens if everything else works well, right? Because if the technique is all in place, you'll reach the bottom. So better to focus on the technique, better to focus on being in the moment, working on the specific technique, and then The bonus is if you reach the bottom. And doing these things will increase the likelihood of that happening. So we're keeping our minds present at all times during the dive. We're focusing on sensations, the great feelings of being in the water, the exceptional feeling of gliding down into the ocean, of free falling, of the power of your fins, all of these things. We're focused on the sensations and the actions in that very moment.